this going to do? What is this going to do? People always find a way. Do they not know people have fake IDs? Okay. Also, I'm on social media these days, and I'm scrolling. What do I see? Inappropriate content that I didn't ask for. It is out there.
Sierra just turned into like my 95-year-old grandma.
I know, right?
Wow, Sierra, I didn't know you had it in you. Also, kids, it's called a VPN. Just pretend like you're out in Canada.
Oh, that
It'll be
works.
just fine.
I think here's the thing, because the headline today on FoxNews.com was conservatives celebrating this victory, and I think this kind of speaks to the idea of, yes, is there a decency, a level of decency to maintain? Absolutely, but also it is, for lack of a better word, and I apologize if it dovetails on what Guy Lambert's saying, a slippery slope. Because when you talk about this, where does it end? And if you're talking like getting the government out of people's personal lives, yet the government's mandating what these private companies are telling you to do before you go.
These days.
There's a lot going on in that. So I think that you have to proceed with caution about that one.
There is a group out there, it's called the Free Speech Coalition. It's made up by a group of people in the adult industry and several other industries that have joined together. And basically, they are fighting back against censorship, especially in the adult industry, and fighting against internet censorship. Because it's come forward. We're to the point where I've discussed this. We've had stuff from Arkansas, Mississippi, Utah, California, Texas, Oregon, Missouri, many different places that want to censor you. They want to change the definition of the Miller's test. They want to change what obscenity laws is. Changing obscenity laws is the most stupidest thing ever. It's basically going to put us back pre-1973. Places, other states may decide to arrest Dave Chappelle for his comedy routine, or many other comedians. I'd be afraid right now. And then, of course, the adult producers, they could be arrested. We had that happen back in the 70s. We've had theaters, adult theaters raided. Could your home be raided for your adult library? It is possible. If they change these rules and regulations, people could probably end up reporting you, and you could end up being arrested, depending on what state you're in. And I've been signaling this warning for quite some time, and many others have done the same. And it is, you have groups now starting to gain momentum in what their beliefs are to the situation. So we're going to read into this from XBiz. FSC warning against most aggressive nationwide censorship campaign. The Free Speech Coalition has released an online guide tracking new anti-porn verification laws and bills in multiple states in a wave of what the trade organization has called the most aggressive censorship we've seen in decades. FSC guide for tracking the various pieces of legislations of several of who aim to create liability for adult sites that fail to institute user age verification was shared via Twitter. This was about a couple of weeks ago. And all of the recent proposals and state laws were introduced by Republican legislators, many of whom are open religious motivation. FCC provided a bill-by-bill summary. If you want to see this entirely for yourself, go over to www.xbiz.com/news. Basically, you will find this under FCC warns against, as I gave you that title. I'll try to link it in the description below so you see on it, but I'm going to read into each of the states to give you a major breakdown on each of these. Louisiana, new age verification laws is blatantly unconstitutional, but that hasn't stopped 4 other states from introducing copycat bills. and others from introducing unconstitutional bills of their own. Remember, all these bills are unconstitutional. Remember that. These bills should not be going forward. First, some background on Louisiana's new Act 440. It allows parents to sue websites that don't age verify adequately, generally interpreted to be biometrics and or government ID. It is not just unconstitutional, it is a privacy nightmare. Act 440 took place January 1st, effective two weeks later. Now, the thing about it is, with Louisiana's rule, it's up to the parent to on there. And once again, age verification does not work. If a teenager knows the parent's ID number or credit card number or anything of that nature, they could use that and still get verified. And the thing about it is, this is not something new. There's that video that I put up. That video is from years ago. There are experts, tech experts from years ago, that says this would never work. Arkansas followed up with their own law, SB 66, especially a carbon copy. Expect they lowered the percentage of adult content needed on a platform for it to be liable from 33% to 23%. Mississippi, legislators have now introduced 3 bills, all roughly identical to the Louisiana law, HB 1315, 1090, and SB 2886. If passed, the law will go into effect July 1st. In Utah, legislators have announced that they have looked at the Louisiana law and will introduce one there shortly. Utah likely to add few bells and whistles. Actually, they've introduced 2. We've talked about this before, just like several other states. In Texas, legislature has introduced Bill HB 1181, which not only defines pornographic as any portion of the female breast below the top of the areola, but makes it those uploading adult content liable under law. Now, the thing about it is, hey, in Texas law, there are people who shoot art, photography, nude photography. And it's not pornographic, it's just nude photography. There's no sex or anything like that. It's just beautiful poses, just like artwork that is sitting in the Louvre and many art galleries throughout the world and even in the United States. So are you going to be deeming that pornographic? It's like that old joke from The Simpsons with David. If you remember that, was it the Itch and Scratchy episode where they tried to ban Itch and Scratchy and make it a more family friendly.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
And then they said, well, we made that family friendly. Let's stop the kids from going to go see David because it's basically pornographic. And, you know, this is the thing I keep saying. They're going to go after one thing and then move to the next and to the next and to the next. Understand these laws. You know, what these bills are to effectively do is to censor. Like I said, this has nothing to do with protecting the child. This has nothing to do with basically getting rid of pornography. This is for pure, unadulterated censorship across the board. They're not trying to help you. They're just basically trying to get to a bottom line for control. Oregon has introduced SB 257, which requires any website with pornography to obtain and authenticate a copy of the user's government issue ID with no guards for privacy or constitutionally. Unlike Louisiana, it is enforced by the Attorney General. Again, unconstitutional. Missouri has introduced SB 308, which requires ISPs, AT&T, Spectrum, etc., to filter obscene content or face action from the state. Now, this is where you're getting the IPs to censor, which basically these companies can fight that. Basically, they're telling companies who show movies, TV shows, content, what content that they could put on their ISP. Once again, they're violating the Constitution. South Carolina has 2 bills on pornography, both different, both interesting. The first, HB 3426, creates a fine up to $200,000 for anyone on any platform that permits such as a lewd exhibition of genitals and does not verify age. Now here's the point where it gets into education. They said lewd exhibition of genitals. Now what if it's done for educational purposes? For biology class. Okay? So you're going to find a website that is teaching biology $200,000 because they showed genitalia. Think about that for a minute. You say, well, that wouldn't happen. Yes, it could happen. By being this very broad, guaranteed, it says it on there. It doesn't say except certain issues. It doesn't say except artwork. It doesn't except in science situations or medical issue. It says that on any platform that permits such a lewd exhibition of genitalia. So that's everything across the board. The second South Carolina bill, HB 3706, Protection of Minors from Pornography and Obscenities Act, makes it a crime to share or exhibit pornography, but also profane language with a minor. HB 3706 adds the FSC Director of Public Affairs, Mike Stable, makes it a Class E felony up to 10 years in prison to tell a dirty joke or even talk about sex in front of a minor. They're adding profane language, talk about sex, excretory functions to list criminal ban expressions. This is what was happening prior to the Miller's test. This is exactly what you have to fear. That means people like Dave Chappelle, basically, or any other comedian would be arrested and given 10 years in prison. How many kids catch Dave Chappelle? Which actually they're not supposed to be watching Dave Chappelle, but you know a lot of teens love Dave Chappelle. Say he's doing a show in South Carolina. He would probably be arrested under this rule. See, that, you know, this is the things we're telling you. We're telling you this, that it's happening. Redefinition of the Miller's test. I know this second bill will be fought in the Supreme Court because this would be a blatant violation of the Miller's test. Yeah, it would be blatant because basically they are violating, they're redefining obscenity. And they can't do that with the Miller's test enacted. Understand that. You know, the Supreme Court's going to throw this back. We're just waiting to see when someone will bring this across on there. Could be soon, could be a little bit later. West Virginia is looking to ban all adult businesses from the state. The Sexually Oriented Business Regulation Act says it needs to violate the First Amendment in order to safeguard the health and safety of morals of West Virginians. See here, what we got here is them attacking. They said, well, the sexual-oriented businesses. Lingerie. They want to ban lingerie. Valentine's Day is this week. They want to ban sexy clothes. Yes, we know they're talking about dildos and everything else, but they're also talking about sexy clothes. They are afraid in West Virginia to have businesses selling sexy clothing. Ladies, I'd be really pissed off about now because this would include those nice little thong bikinis that you like to buy, or thong underwear. It would include that. It would include that. If you like that sexy underwear, sexy intimate apparel that you like to wear constantly, that would be considered sexually oriented under that act. And this does violate the First Amendment and several other business laws that are on the books. You can't tell me what I can't open unless it violates, like, for example, if I'm selling drugs, that would be against the law. If I'm selling certain things that basically are against the law in the state, this is telling me that I cannot open a business to sell clothing, intimate apparel, sexy intimate apparel to the ladies. Ladies, start screaming now. Trust me, you need to talk. Especially if you live in West Virginia, you need to speak up now, because they're taking away the things you like. These are just the ones that have been formally introduced. FSC warned many more states have announced plans or are planning to introduce more in the coming weeks. These battles aren't easy or cheap, but they are dangerous and destructive. The organization noted inviting all industry members to support and fight against censorship by joining the Free Speech Coalition. Like I said, I've noted the site below, and I will note if you wish to donate over to the Free Speech Coalition, like every other coalition or anything like that, I would take the moment, go look into them, see if you're comfortable giving to them. But they are looking to right what's wrong, because basically this is violation of the Constitution. And this is not only on the left that are doing this. This is those on the right. You're seeing people that under religion, under Mormon, under Catholic. I am a Catholic. And the thing about it is, you have the separation of church and state. Things that are said, if you don't agree with, that's fine. But you don't put it onto bill paper to violate the Constitution of other people's, This is the reason. One of the reasons why, our forefathers left England, because basically they were violating the rights of people there. And they came to this country and created the United States of America. And people criticize it, but the thing about it is, you have more rights here than literally most of the rest of the world. Take a moment and go check it out for yourself. United Kingdom is about to fall, as far as the internet. They're going to be controlling the internet. So, like I said, we'll leave it there below. Do check it out for yourself. And like I said before, this has been a long time coming. This is the time to act. The Free Speech Coalition is telling you this is the time to fight back. There are lawsuits that they're trying to put together against all these people. And, people say, they try to say, oh, it's the porn problem. I heard the other day there was someone trying to equate pornography like a drug. Porn is a type of entertainment. Not everyone's going to like porn. Not everybody watches porn. They're making it sound like women are just now getting to porn and they're just watching it for the first time now. No, that's been for many years. People don't look at the real numbers or go back and look when, in the past. Nothing has really changed much except the numbers. Guys watch porn, women watch porn, doesn't matter whether you're straight, gay, trans, in a good medium on there. And, every once in a while, there's going to be some teenager that's going to try to attempt to watch. The difference is the parents need to be in touch with their children as far as explaining this stuff. If they're going to put blockers on their phone, if they're going to but also, like I said, most of this verification doesn't work. The blockers don't work either that as well. Stay in touch with your child. Have those discussions. Do not be afraid to have those discussions with your children. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share. We'll discuss this on the next one. Thank you for tuning in, and bye-bye now.